So today, I've got 2 clips that I want to share with you. 2 clips to discuss, and then we'll probably get into a comment that I've seen on social media. And we'll just work our way through these. I'm really enjoying these episodes. Before we get into it, like, share, subscribe, do all of that. You're not having to pay for any of this. All you have to do is subscribe or share or comment. And let me pull this up. So I saw a clip on social media, and let me just pull this up. You have to bear with me. So this was from, I'm not actually sure the page, right? But it's a group of kids being asked a question. And their response is, let's just watch. Watch this.
What do you think the biggest thing that guys struggle with is?
Fatherless child.
Fatherless, like not having a dad in their life. Like this, I'm being real.
Right, like
not having a father figure. No father figure. No father figure.
For young boys at that age to be able to understand, one of the biggest problems is boys being raised with no father figures is mind-blowing in itself. Are we really not going to address this? Are we really not going to address the fact that there's so many boys out there and girls, but so many boys whose role model, who the man they look up to, is not there? And I feel like the answer is going to be, the mum should let them be there. I feel like we're just constantly looking for blame. Let's blame the mums. Let's blame the mums as to why men are not present. Young boys should not be answering a question like that with that response.
Not even like no jokes, bro. My dad's in prison.
Yeah, somewhere in Florida. I don't know.
My dad's doing drugs. Like, for real. And my dad's in prison.
These are 13, 14-year-old boys who are aware of the impact not having a father has, and have become so normalized that they're able to just, all of them, they're in agreement. Not one person so far has said something different.
Like, father figures are like,
Overrated.
it's something about like, it was one guy that did take care of his kid. He had kids, he didn't take care of his disciples. We live in these like shitty areas with no father figures, bro.
People like, they have kids and then females expect them to not have kids, but they have a bell roll.
Think about what's being said. They're aware at 13 and 14 about the cycle and the patterns that happen. You get born into, quote unquote, shitty area. From that, you're born without your father being present. You then don't understand what it is to be a man and how to treat women. You then repeat the cycle. That's the cycle we go through. My dad's in prison. My dad's in Florida. I don't even know where he is. How long are we going to continue to blame women? As men now, let's really address this. How long are we going to continue to blame women? Out of all the children in the world that do not have their father actively involved, I am not going to sit here and say that 99.9% of those are because the mum is not allowing the dad to be present. Some of you are choosing this. And not because it's difficult, maybe because you didn't want the child in the first place, maybe because you didn't like the woman, maybe because it was one night, maybe because she's been difficult, maybe because you don't want to support financially. You can find all of the excuses in the world. But the fact is, we need to stop blaming women. Blaming women is not helping us. As men, holding each other accountable allows us to get somewhere. If we're constantly pointing the blame at women, we don't move forward. As men, we don't move forward. We will never move forward if all we do is point the blame at women. That's why I refuse to do it. As men, let's look at ourselves. What could we be doing better? Are there people in your circle that are not being there for their kids that you could speak to, that you could pull them up on? Because you can't tell me 13 and 14-year-old kids can answer a question like that, can talk about the cycle of growing up without a father and the impact it has. And that's just normal? And that's the woman's fault? We are choosing the life that we live. We are choosing to chase money. We are choosing to chase a lifestyle. We are choosing to do things we shouldn't be doing. And then the result is us ending up in prison, or the result is us getting arrested. We're choosing a lot of these ways of living. And as men, we're not saying, you know what, this was my fault. I could have done better. How long are we going to continue to blame the women? I'm going to move on to another clip from one of my favorite podcasts out there, the Dear Future Wifey Podcast. This is also in relation to, I guess, absent fathers. So yeah, check this one out. Check this one out. Did I really just say that? Let's watch this together.
How did you feel growing up without a present father?
I'm just like a firm believer in like the butterfly effect, that, you know, everything happens for a reason. Right now in my life, I'm so grateful. In a way, I'm like, not glad he wasn't there, but just like, I don't know what my life would be if he was.
Sometimes we normalize pain, we normalize trauma, and we say, I mean, you know, but my life, look how my life turned out. It turned out great. Yes, my mom and dad divorced, but don't divorce me as your son.
Don't divorce me as your son. Can we just sit with that? Don't divorce me as your son. Doesn't even matter if you're married or not. You and the mum are no longer together. Don't separate from your child. You are not breaking up with your child. You're breaking up with that woman. You're breaking up with that man. So many of us break up with our child. They've done nothing wrong.
As black men, we're forced to accept what's unacceptable. I love how you were able to make lemonade out of lemons, but you wasn't supposed to be the one squeezing it.
Yes.
You wasn't the one supposed to be squeezing it. You grow up without your dad. You have to fight extra hard, right? Especially if there's no man around. As a boy, you become the man of the house. You take on all of this responsibility. And you make something of yourself. You made the lemonade out of the lemons, but your dad should have been there helping you squeeze that. Your dad should have been there squeezing for you to make it easier. Like I said, we've normalized it. So many of us go through this growing up without a father, and we don't talk about it. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to acknowledge it. We want to numb the pain, or we just act like we're cool. And we're not. We're not. I don't care what anyone says. Even if you've been to therapy, the fact that your father was not in your life has impacted you. And you're still carrying that. I'm still carrying it to this day.
How has y'all relationship grown since then?
It's so interesting you said it, because I never cry with my dad. I really don't. Like, my mom would try to get it out of me.
Yeah, I
And I'm like, I'm chilling. But my dad had a play that he just did at the beginning of this year, and he wanted me to go see it. It was in California. And so I had my Bel Air people pull up, and like, you know, we went to the play.
Take your time, King.
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah, he
No, I want him to talk.
Okay.
I'm gonna let Jordan talk.
Damn.
No, this how King show up. We show up vulnerable.
I went to the play, and I was like, man, this nigga is so good. He is so good. And I started crying in the front row. And he didn't know that I was doing this. And I started crying because, like, I'm an actor. He's an actor. I was an actor. And you were this good, like, phenomenal. Like, my friends are like, yo, he's the best in the play. He never teach me none of that.
Yep.
What I loved about that especially was when LaTerrence, the host, said, let him talk. I think as mums, you want to protect your sons. right? Especially when they're in that vulnerable state, but just allowing him to talk. Or coming to your son to talk about the fact that his dad's not there. So many of us, again, we want to avoid it. We don't want to talk about it. You may have to push a little bit harder to get that out of your son because he doesn't want to talk about it. And you may feel like, you know what, I don't want to upset him. Your son needs to talk about it. If his dad is not around, your son needs to talk about it. Your son needs to get that out. Because internalizing it and allowing it to fester and grow does not help any of us. And please believe there's grown men out here right now walking around. They've never had their dad in their lives. And they may seem fine. They may seem like it hasn't bothered them. It's bothered them. It's impacted them. To this day, it impacts me. I question, why was my dad not around? Why was my dad there for my sisters, but my dad wasn't there for me? How can my dad have made such an effort to support one family and not support another? As a man, as a father myself now, how can you have your only son walking around, as far as I know, your only son walking around this earth and you can't pick up a phone? Because that's all it would be. I'm on social media. He could find me if he wanted to find me. He could contact me if he wanted to contact me. Maybe there's a cowardness in him. Maybe there's a shame in him. But for whatever reason, you're unable to get past that. And as boys, we carry that ourselves. What was it about me? Was it something I did? Was it something I could have done differently to make him be a father to me? And the truth is, it wasn't. Maybe he didn't know better. Maybe he couldn't do better. Maybe he regrets it, maybe he doesn't. But the fact is, us as the men that were once those boys without the father around, carry that. And we carry that throughout because we're always wondering, what if? Imagine if my dad was around. I wonder how I would have turned out. Would it have been different? How would my life have been if my dad was there? So many questions that we will never get the answers to. And that's what you do when you leave your son. That's what you do when you leave your daughter. You leave them with questions that will never be answered. Even if you come back and you explain to them why you weren't there, the fact is you leave them with the question of, how would my life have been if you was here? And that's something you can never answer because we'll never know. I want to share a dilemma. I'm gonna go with a dilemma instead. So I had a dilemma that came in that said, we've recently started family mediation to come to agreements for contact days, so on and so forth. Because he's not been seeing his child for about 6 months now. I offered him the role of taking our son for haircuts, as I'd always assumed it to be a father-son bonding activity. I even offered to still cover the cost since it wasn't something that was his idea. His response was, nope, you can do that as I won't be taking him for any haircuts. As a parent who wants nothing more than for her child to have a relationship with his dad, how am I meant to address this situation? You don't address it, you accept it. You don't address it, you accept it. That man is spiting his child and that opportunity for whatever reason. Let me say this right now, as someone that's trying to give as many free haircuts to young boys as I can. There's women out there that will take their child to the barbershop or to the hairdressers, whatever we want to call it. But for this instance, let's say barbershop. There's women out there that take their sons to barbershops. I've seen it. My mum was one. Walk into a barbershop. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes if you're lucky, you have an amazing barbershop. They sit there. So nowadays, you may have appointments, but mums would sit in a barbershop for hours. Sometimes being the only woman in a barbershop, sit there for hours with their son, waiting for their son to get a haircut. Walk up to the barber and sometimes not even know what to ask for. They wouldn't know the terminology. They wouldn't know what to ask for, how to ask for my son's haircut to be done. They wouldn't know. Because that isn't an environment that they're in on a regular basis. That isn't an environment for them. The barbershop is designed, respectfully, for men. for men to go in, there are women that go into the barbershop now. Let's not get into that. But for this, stay with me. The barbershop is a place where you learn. As a boy, you learn. You learn. You watch other men. If it wasn't for my barbershop, I wouldn't be the man I am today. My barber is like my uncle. My barber is my friend's uncle. It's a family thing. And from the moment I had a son, I could not wait to give him two things, a Chelsea kit and take him to the barbershop. I could not wait. I was proud. I was honored. And even if it's not my scheduled time with my son, I'm taking him to the barbershop. I'm taking care of that. I'm paying for it. I'm taking care of it because that's my responsibility. That's my joy. That's my son. That's my moment. That's our bonding time together. As men, we don't get many things like that. We don't. And you're going to turn it down when the woman's offered to pay for it as well? This is where we got to stop allowing our egos to lead us. There's few moments where you really bond with your son. Barbershop is one. Maybe taking him to a football match, doing certain things. It's where you really, you have this sense of like proudness. Don't allow your ego to ruin that. Love and respect to all the mums that take their kids to the barbers. All the mums that take their kids to the barbers. But I am saying this. I'm just putting my hand on my heart with this. As men, take your son to get his haircut. Take your son to get his haircut. Pay for your son to have his haircut. Sit in that barbershop. Allow him, your son, to see you interacting with other men in the barbershop. Just make sure the barbershop isn't full of idiots, please. Make sure there's no nonsense going on. Take that. Yeah. But you don't address it, you accept it. If that's how that man's choosing to be, as a mum, as a woman, it's not your responsibility to persuade anyone to do something for their child. It's not. As parents, it's not. It's not your responsibility to persuade anyone to do anything for their child. They can suffer the consequences later on. I've loved this. I don't know what it is. It's just something about these episodes that just goes super quick. So I want to thank you for watching. If there's a video you want me to watch, if there's something you've seen, comment. Mention it in the comments. Drop me a DM. Like, subscribe, share, all of that. And until next time, I'm out.